Hello, I'm James Sheard from the Accountancy People, and I want to talk about pensions. Now, in many ways, we talked about pensions before, and it's something that's been changing, and in many ways, I wish it would change less because pensions is something that we're putting money away now, and we're hoping to draw the money in sort of 40 years time. For many people who are younger than me, in 50, 60 years time. However, I saw in the press that along with the Chancellor's autumn statement, which comes out later on in November, he's looking at pensions again. Now, the reason that he's looking at pensions is because the tax benefit that he gives away in terms of pensions is £50 billion, which is about the same as the government's deficit. So every Chancellor is going to look at pensions, and we may as well get used to that. If we sort of look back from the future, then in 20 years' time, there are two things in pensions that I cannot believe will exist. One of them is the tax-free lump sum. At the moment, you can get 25% of your pension as a tax-free lump sum. That means if you've got the maximum, which is like 1.8 million in your pension scheme, great, if you do, that means you can have £450,000 completely tax-free. And that, if you go to Ashton Market, I don't believe that most of the people there will believe that that is fair, and I think the Chancellor and the politicians are aware of that. So I think that at some stage over the next year, the coming years, and it might be this year, it might be in 10 years' time, but at some stage that will be restricted, maybe restricted to something like £50,000. And the way that you have to restrict it, it'll happen just immediately. So if you are dependent for your planning on your tax-free lump sum, and you're thinking of taking it, I would always take it before the Chancellor stands up and gives his budget statement or his autumn statement or any other statement, just in case. The other thing that I think in 20 years' time will not exist is higher rate tax relief, full higher rate tax relief for pensions. Most of the pensions tax relief is higher rate tax relief, so basically it's better off people using pensions to save tax money. And again, I don't think that is something that's politically acceptable in the long term. So again, I would, if you're a high rate taxpayer and you're thinking of putting money into your pension scheme, I would always put it in advance and put lump sums in advance of when the Chancellor stands up to give his autumn statement or his budget statement or any other statement. The other thing that I think is worth looking at is your state pension. As you know, your state pension is dependent on how many years you've been contributing through national insurance and being an employee or as self-employed. And I think that it's worth reviewing that and making sure that the years that you've paid in are properly accounted for by the guys in Newcastle. And also, there is some complication there because they've changed the rules again. You may find that for some of the years you've opted in, some of the years you've opted out, and actually to understand what your pension you're likely to get, I think it's a really worthwhile exercise. So what you need to do is, if you Google check your state pension, ring the guys up in Newcastle, they'll then give you a statement. And you can find out what you're going to get when you're 65, 68, whatever your age is when you get your state pension. So that's me, James Sheard from the Accountancy People, looking at pensions again. If you need any help with any of that, please get in touch and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.